Alicia's shopping day took an unexpected turn when she faced an unforeseen humiliation, but what happened next will leave you astonished. Watch until the end to see this powerful story unfold, and don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Alicia had been looking forward to this day for a long time. Her life as a mother, wife, and accomplished woman was usually packed with responsibilities, work pressures, and family duties, leaving her with little time to enjoy her own. So when the chance arose to shop at a high-end mall, she saw it as a special gift she was giving herself. This was a rare moment she could dedicate to herself, entirely free from the demands of work and daily life. The shopping center Alicia chose wasn't just a place to buy things, it was a symbol of luxury and tranquility. Walking into the grand venue, she was enveloped by an elegant atmosphere. Soft, warm, golden lighting filled the space, making it feel cozy and inviting. Soothing classical music played in the background, spreading an air of elegance and calm. This ambience was a balm to her spirit, bringing a sense of peace she rarely found in her daily life. This was her moment, a moment when she could step outside her family and work roles and just be herself. Alicia strolled leisurely through the luxury boutiques, each storefront meticulously decorated, every shop displaying its unique charm. She took in the details around her, sophisticated clothing arranged artistically, designer handbags lined up neatly, and sparkling shoes on display as if beckoning her. Everything radiated elegance and perfection. In her mind, she felt an indescribable joy, thinking this was a day she could enjoy freely without worrying about time, work, or responsibilities. This was a day for herself, a day to rediscover the confidence, allure, and strength she cherished. Alicia had planned this shopping trip for some time. She wanted to find a special dress that would make her look both powerful and elegant, a dress that would make her feel confident, a dress she could wear to her upcoming event that would turn every head. She wasn't just there to shop, she wanted to take the time to look, to appreciate the exquisite pieces, and to immerse herself in the luxurious atmosphere. For Alicia, this was more than a shopping trip, it was a journey, a time for her to reconnect with herself and to feel worthy of love and admiration. In high spirits, Alicia continued browsing the boutiques, envisioning herself in a stunning dress for a glamorous evening. Just then, she spotted a breathtaking deep blue dress prominently displayed in a store window. The dress was refined and bold, with a sleek, modern cut and subtle shimmering details that held her gaze. The deep blue exuded power and elegance, exactly what she wanted for the upcoming event. She imagined herself in the dress, graceful, confident, and radiant. Joy rose in her heart, and without hesitation, Alicia entered the store, her heart beating with excitement. The ambience inside the store was even more refined and luxurious, with warm golden lights illuminating each piece like artwork, making Alicia feel as if she were living a perfect moment. As she gently touched the dress, feeling the cool, soft fabric against her palm, Alicia felt a thrill. This was perhaps the dress she had been looking for. Just then, a voice spoke up from behind, "May I help you with something?" The tone sounded polite, but there was a hint of iciness. Alicia turned to see a tall, slender man with a sharp face and a professional demeanor. He wore the store's uniform, complete with a tightly knotted tie and an expressionless face. "Yes, I'm looking for a special dress for an upcoming event," Alicia responded warmly, pointing to the stunning blue dress. "This dress is gorgeous. May I try it on?" The man, Ryan Fletcher, glanced at the dress, then back at Alicia, his smile a little strained. "This is a very special item, one of our most exclusive pieces. Are you sure this is the right choice?" His words seemed normal, but there was a hint of something unpleasant in his tone. Alicia felt a slight unease, unsure if she was imagining his attitude. Staying calm, she nodded and replied, "Yes, I'm sure. I'd like to try it on." Ryan's gaze swept over her again, from head to toe, as if he were valuing more than just her appearance but her presence in the store. Alicia felt a slight awkwardness under his gaze but maintained her composure. Ryan let out a barely audible sigh, though Alicia caught a glimpse of displeasure on his face before he reluctantly reached for the dress. As he handed her the dress, she sensed a harsh judgment in his simple gesture. She felt a sudden urge to prove herself, to show that she deserved this dress and everything she desired. Despite a bit of discomfort, Alicia remained polite as she entered the fitting room, determined not to let Ryan's attitude spoil her day. She gracefully slipped off her clothes and put on the beautiful deep blue dress. The dress hugged her perfectly, highlighting her elegance. Looking in the mirror, Alicia felt transformed, strong, confident, and captivating, exactly as she wanted to appear. Pride and happiness filled her heart, imagining the admiring look she would receive at the upcoming event. But her joy was interrupted by a knock, followed by Ryan's somewhat impatient voice, "Are you ready yet?" His tone was sharp, making Alicia slightly uneasy. She stepped out with a bright smile, twirling slightly to let the light catch every detail of the dress. "This dress is amazing," she said, unable to hide her excitement. She genuinely wanted to share her joy, hoping for a compliment or at least some acknowledgement from Ryan. However, Ryan's gaze made her pause. He looked at her for a long moment, his eyes filled with judgment and, for some reason, a clear trace of disdain. He smirked, but it wasn't a kind smile. "The dress is bold," he remarked with a mocking tone, "but maybe it doesn't quite suit you." Alicia was taken aback. "What do you mean?" she asked, trying to stay calm but unable to hide her discomfort. She couldn't believe this salesperson would act this way, especially when she was just a customer wanting to try on a dress. Ryan shrugged, his eyes still on her, though now more scrutinizing than observing. "This is a very exclusive item," he emphasized, his tone full of implication, "and not everyone can truly wear it." His words, coupled with his contemptuous look, made Alicia feel her confidence waning, replaced by anger and humiliation. Trying to keep her cool, Alicia replied, "I don't think it's your place to decide who is suitable for this dress." Her voice had a firmness, now lacking the gentleness from before. She had come here with joy and excitement, and she wasn't about to let an arrogant salesperson ruin that. But Ryan just sneered, the condescending smile on his face only intensifying her feeling of humiliation. "I just want to make sure our items end up with the right people," he said with a suggestive tone. Without warning, he stepped closer and suddenly grabbed a thin part of the fabric near her shoulder, giving it a sharp tug. A slight tearing sound echoed, and Alicia could only watch in shock as the dress ripped along a seam, exposing her shoulder. "There," Ryan said with a mocking smile, "maybe this style suits you better." Alicia felt frozen in place, unable to speak. The eyes of everyone around seemed to turn toward her, some people glanced over, others looked away, but it all made her feel as if she were exposed and humiliated in public. Her heart pounded, her cheeks burned with embarrassment and anger, but she held her ground, refusing to break down. In front of the man who stood before her, smirking in satisfaction, "Take your hands off me," she finally managed to say, her voice trembling with rage. Inside, Alicia felt as though all her joy and confidence had been crushed by an indescribable shame. Standing there in the torn dress, shoulder exposed, Ryan still looked at her with disdain, seemingly savoring the moment he'd created. The looks from those around only added to her shame. Some people watched in silence while others quickly looked away, pretending not to notice. No one intervened, no one spoke up, as if Alicia was experiencing this humiliation alone among strangers. Fighting back the pain and anger surging within her, Alicia lifted her head, taking a deep breath to keep her composure. She clenched her fists, feeling the urge to discard the dress immediately, but forced herself to stay calm, unwilling to let Ryan see just how deeply he had wounded her. With a voice that was shaky but resolute, she said, "I'll leave, and you'll be held accountable for this." Ryan merely shrugged, his face unrepentant. "You're completely free to go," he replied mockingly, "perhaps another store would suit your style." His words were like cold knives, cutting deep into Alicia's sense of dignity. She walked away, trying to keep her back straight, each step weighed down by the shame pressing on her heart. Just outside the store, Alicia nearly collapsed. She stood there feeling overwhelmed and hurt, her eyes welling up as she struggled to hold back her tears. This was supposed to be a joyful shopping trip, a special moment to feel unique and confident, but now it was only filled with a deep sense of degradation and pain. Just then, a familiar voice called out to her. Alicia looked up to see her husband, Michael, his face full of concern and worry. A wave of relief washed over her. In that moment, she felt protected, and the strength she had tried to maintain faded. Michael saw the tear in her dress and instantly sensed that something serious had happened. He approached her, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder and looking deeply into her eyes. His gaze filled with worry and rising anger. "Alicia, what happened? Are you okay?" Alicia tried to keep her voice steady as she recounted what had happened, but the memory of Ryan's contemptuous look and the moment the dress was torn brought back the pain. "I just wanted to try on a dress and the salesperson," she couldn't finish her sentence. The image of Ryan's sneering face returning to her mind fueled her anger. Michael listened intently, his face darkening as he grasped the level of disrespect his wife had endured. His voice dropped, controlled but simmering with a barely contained anger. "Did he hurt you?" Alicia nodded slightly, trying to hold back the tears threatening to spill. "He tore the dress and humiliated me in front of everyone. I don't understand why he did it, but he acted as if I didn't belong there." Her broken words made Michael grip her hand tighter, feeling a wave of protectiveness and fury. Michael looked around, his eyes sharp as he searched for the man who had humiliated his wife. He took a deep breath, his face hard with determination. This wasn't just an insult, it was an offense he couldn't ignore, a humiliation Alicia did deserve. His gaze held a steely resolve, like the calm before a storm. "Where is he?" His voice was steady and resolute, carrying a powerful authority. Alicia pointed toward the store, her tear-filled eyes now shining with hope. She knew Michael wouldn't let this go easily. Seeing the determination in his eyes, she felt as though she had regained a bit of the confidence shattered by Ryan's cruelty. Michael gently squeezed her shoulder, offering a comforting touch and a silent promise of protection. Without hesitation, Michael walked straight into the store, each step filled with anger and resolve to defend his beloved wife. Every step forward was charged with the frustration he felt, and the surroundings seemed to fall silent, with all eyes turning toward the man with a stern, determined face. Michael didn't take long to spot Ryan Fletcher behind the counter, casually arranging items, still with an air of smug indifference, completely unaware that he was about to face the consequences of his actions. Ryan looked up and immediately noticed Michael approaching him, a smug smile still plastered on his face, as if Michael was just another passerby unworthy of attention. "Can I help you?" Ryan asked, his tone arrogant, almost as if challenging him. But as soon as his gaze met Michael's steely eyes, Ryan's confidence began to waver, a flicker of worry crossing his face. He seemed to sense a slight unease but tried to maintain his usual arrogance. Michael stopped at the counter, looking Ryan straight in the eye with an unyielding, icy stare, saying nothing. In that tense silence, Michael let each second pass, his gaze communicating that this man would be held accountable. The intensity of Michael's silence, combined with the anger in his eyes, made Ryan start to feel overwhelmed, a look of uncertainty creeping into his face. Finally, Michael spoke, his voice steady and deliberate, carrying a simmering fury. "I'm here because of what you did to my wife," he said, each word piercing the man before him, leaving no doubt about his anger. Ryan tried to maintain his arrogance, but his voice was unsteady. "I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about," he replied, but the smile on his face had lost its natural confidence. "If she couldn't afford the dress, that's her issue, not mine. We have standards here, and I was simply upholding them." Michael took a deep breath, his gaze still fixed on Ryan, filled with disdain. "Standards," he repeated, his voice deep and sharp. "What kind of standards allow you to insult and humiliate my wife because you think she doesn't deserve to be in this store?" Each word from him was like a hammer pounding against the composure Ryan was desperately trying to maintain. Ryan began to back away, feeling the weight of Michael's fury like an invisible pressure he couldn't withstand. But still trying to keep his arrogance, he responded in a tone that was growing weaker and less confident. I just wanted to ensure our products go to the right people." Michael took another step forward, his gaze cold and unwavering, his voice now low but holding an ominous edge. "My wife is the most deserving person in this store," he emphasized, each word as if engraving them into Ryan's pride. "And you have no right to belittle or humiliate her." At this point, some of the store employees had begun to take notice, standing nearby, silently watching the intense confrontation between the two men. A few customers had also stopped, observing with curiosity and surprise. The atmosphere in the store had grown tense, everyone recognizing this was far from a usual encounter, and Michael didn't give Ryan a chance to make further excuses. He took out his phone, his eyes never leaving Ryan's pale face as he made a call. "I need security support at the shopping center," he said, his tone firm and commanding. "There's an incident of disrespect and harassment that needs immediate attention." Hearing this, Ryan's face drained of color and his final shred of confidence vanished. He took a step back, his voice shaky and filled with fear as he attempted a weak justification. I didn't mean to do anything. She doesn't belong here. I was just doing my job," Ryan stammered, his words now reduced to weak fragments, his earlier arrogance completely gone. Michael remained unwavering, his gaze like a knife piercing Ryan's conscience. "You think you have the right to humiliate others because of personal prejudice?" His voice was ice cold. "You're mistaken. Your arrogance and inhumanity will have consequences." Minutes later, the police arrived, heightening the tension in the air. Customers and employees around began whispering, no one able to look away from the confrontation. One of the officers approached, respect evident in his eyes, as he looked at Michael. "What happened here, sir?" Without hesitation, Michael pointed directly at Ryan, his voice firm. "This man insulted and assaulted my wife. I want him held accountable for his actions." Ryan remained silent, his face pale and eyes wide with fear as the officer approached him, his expression serious. "Sir, we'll need you to come with us to clarify the situation," the officer said to Ryan. Ryan, bewildered, tried to defend himself one last time, but his words were weak and unconvincing. Finally, amidst the stunned yet satisfied stares of onlookers, Ryan was handcuffed and led out of the store, his face clearly displaying embarrassment and shame. Michael watched as Ryan was taken away, not saying a word. For him, this wasn't just about protecting his wife, it was a way to restore her dignity and justice. He turned back and saw Alicia standing just outside the door, her eyes brimming with emotion and pride. She had witnessed everything, and in that moment, Michael knew he had done the right thing, not only to protect his wife, but also to reclaim the respect she deserved. They walked out of the store together, and Alicia felt a sense of relief, knowing that Michael's actions had brought her a measure of justice, however small. But neither of them anticipated how far this incident would ripple. As they stepped out, they noticed people in the mall watching them, whispering about what had just happened. Some had discreetly recorded the tense confrontation between Michael and Ryan, capturing the moment Ryan was handcuffed and escorted away by the police. This brief video quickly spread on social media, accompanied by captions denouncing discrimination and praising Michael's courage in defending his wife. Within hours, it had gone viral, shared widely and discussed across platforms. Praise poured in for Michael, commending him for standing up for Alicia, while Ryan's discriminatory behavior was condemned. In the days that followed, local newspapers began covering their story. News outlets soon portrayed it as a symbol of justice and dignity. It was no longer just about a woman who had been insulted but had become a powerful example of standing against injustice, especially when faced with discrimination and contempt. To many, Alicia became a model of courage, and Michael the embodiment of bravery and family loyalty. As the story spread, strangers from across the country reached out to Alicia, sharing their own experiences with injustice and discrimination. One woman wrote, "Your story has given me strength. I've been looked down upon in a similar situation, but I never dared to speak up. Thank you for doing what so many of us couldn't." These messages were a balm for Alicia, helping her see that her painful experience hadn't been in vain. Not only strangers but also family and friends expressed their strong support. Alicia's friends sent messages of concern, admiring her resilience and Michael's protection of her. Family members called and checked on her, encouraging Michael for his steadfastness. These encouraging words reinforced both Alicia and Michael's resolve, letting them know they weren't alone on this journey. That evening, as Alicia and Michael sat together, their phone buzzed with a call from an unfamiliar number. On the other end was a reporter from a major newspaper, with a friendly, respectful tone. She explained that Alicia and Michael's story had deeply resonated with thousands of readers. Your story has touched the hearts of so many people. If you're willing, we'd love to interview you both so people can understand your experience and Michael's meaningful act of protection. Alicia hesitated. The thought of being the center of attention made her a bit shy, as she had never wanted to be known in this way. But recalling the messages from strangers, thankful words, and shared experiences of enduring injustice, she realized that perhaps her story could inspire others. She looked at Michael, who gently squeezed her hand, encouraging her with a warm look. "You don't have to do this if you don't want to," he said, his voice calm and understanding. "But if you think this is a way to share your experience and let others know they're not alone, I'll be by your side." Alicia nodded, feeling reassured and motivated by Michael's trust. After a moment's thought, she agreed to the interview. She wanted her story to be told, not only to release her own pain, but to empower those who had endured similar injustices. On the day of the interview, a small film crew and the reporter arrived at Alicia and Michael's home. The interview unfolded in an atmosphere that was both respectful and intimate, making Alicia feel a bit more at ease. The reporter's questions were gentle, allowing Alicia to recount her story from start to finish. Each detail resurfaced vividly in Alicia's mind, the moment she had entered the store full of joy, the shock of facing Ryan's contemptuous look, and the humiliation when he tore her dress, turning her excitement into a painful memory. She didn't shy away from expressing those feelings, and each word carried both pain and courage, bringing a solemn mood to the interview. Michael, sitting beside her, added his perspective on the emotions he felt upon hearing what Alicia had endured and why he felt compelled to confront Ryan. "This wasn't just about protecting the one I love," he said, his voice firm with conviction. "It was about reclaiming the respect every person deserves, no matter who they are or where they're from." Michael's words lent weight to the interview, underscoring that this was more than just a personal story but a statement on justice and dignity. When the interview concluded, the reporter expressed her admiration for both of them. "Your story will undoubtedly serve as a powerful message for those who have faced injustice. We will do our best to share it with honesty and respect." A few days after the article was published, Alicia and Michael's story once again ignited social media. Thousands of comments expressed admiration and gratitude for them. Many people who had endured injustice found comfort and encouragement in Alicia's story. One woman wrote, "Thank you, Alicia, for speaking up. You've given a voice to so many of us who have been overlooked because of our appearance. I feel stronger after reading your story." Some even saw Alicia as a symbol of dignity and Michael as a model of protection and courage. Alicia felt her heart swell with joy and peace as she reflected on everything they had been through. Although her experience had been painful, she no longer felt alone. She knew her story had had a positive impact, helping many others recognize their own value and strength. With Michael by her side, Alicia knew she had reclaimed not only her self-respect but had also sent a powerful message about justice and resilience. Yet their journey wasn't over. A few weeks later, Alicia received notice that Ryan Fletcher would face trial for his harassment and assault. This marked an important step in her journey, as justice would finally be served before the law. While the prospect of facing the court was daunting, Alicia knew she had to see it through, not only for herself but for all who had faced discrimination like she had on the day of the trial. Alicia and Michael entered the courthouse together. She felt a wave of tension seeing Ryan on the other side of the room, his face no longer smug but filled with worry. The courtroom was packed with people interested in the case, including friends and family of Alicia and Michael, and others who had followed their story. They came to show their support for her, and Alicia could feel the positive energy filling the room, giving her strength. When the trial began, the prosecution presented clear evidence of Ryan's offensive behavior, including video footage taken at the mall and testimonies from witnesses present at the time. The recordings and images were undeniable proof of Ryan's discriminatory and humiliating actions. Alicia sat quietly, listening to each point made by the prosecution. Each piece of evidence was a painful reminder of what she had endured. When it was her turn, Alicia took a deep breath to steady herself. She felt Michael's encouraging gaze from the audience, which strengthened her to recount in detail what had happened. Her voice was low and measured, yet her emotions were unmistakable as she described the disrespect and humiliation Ryan had inflicted upon her in front of everyone. She spoke of the way he had belittled her, made her feel small and worthless simply because of her appearance. Her words touched everyone present, and the room fell silent, absorbing the pain she had suffered. "It wasn't just a torn dress," Alicia said, her voice choked yet resolute. "It was my self-respect, my worth that was trampled upon. He made me feel like I didn't deserve respect, like I didn't belong there. No one deserves to feel that way." She concluded her testimony with a determined look, reminding everyone that this was not just a personal matter but a larger issue of respect and equality. After Alicia stepped down, Michael took the stand as a witness. He stood before the court, calm but resolute in his police uniform. Michael recounted how he had felt seeing Alicia leave the store with her torn dress and a broken expression. He shared why he felt compelled to act, because he couldn't just stand by and watch his wife suffer such humiliation without doing something. He emphasized that this wasn't just a personal issue but a matter of dignity and respect for those who have no voice. "When I saw my wife like that, I knew I had to do something," Michael said, his voice steady yet powerful. No one has the right to diminish someone else's worth simply out of prejudice or appearance. That's why I chose to confront him, not just for Alicia but for everyone who has ever endured injustice. Eventually, the trial concluded, and the jury retired to deliberate. In the quiet, tense atmosphere, Alicia sat holding Michael's hand, her heart both anxious and hopeful. She knew that the court's decision couldn't erase what she had experienced, but at least it would give her the comfort of knowing that justice had been served. After a period of deliberation, the jury returned and read the verdict. The presiding judge announced, "We, the jury, find the defendant, Ryan Fletcher, guilty of harassment and assault, with a sentence including a substantial fine and mandatory community service." Hearing the verdict, Alicia felt a wave of relief wash over her. She looked over at Michael, and he smiled at her softly, a confirmation that they had overcome a significant trial. Ryan sat across the room, his face pale, eyes wide with shock and shame. He said nothing, merely lowering his head as the verdict was read. Alicia knew this would be a lasting mark on his life, a costly lesson he wouldn't soon forget. With this verdict, Ryan would not easily escape the consequences of the discrimination he had inflicted. As they left the courthouse, Alicia and Michael were greeted by family, friends, and strangers who had followed their story. These supporters came to show their encouragement, offering heartfelt words and sympathetic smiles. Some even shed tears, moved by Alicia and Michael's strength and persistence in seeking justice. Many felt that Alicia's story had awakened compassion and the desire for justice within them. Immediately after the trial, the media reported the verdict, and once again Alicia's story became the center of attention. News outlets and television channels covered how she had stood against injustice and claimed justice for herself. Her story resonated not only locally but also across major platforms, becoming a symbol of courage in the fight for equality. Alicia couldn't believe that such a painful experience could lead to something so positive. She felt that not only had she been protected, but she had inspired many others. As she and Michael left the courthouse, hand in hand, she felt a renewed faith in life, in justice, and in the strength of resilience. Their story had now become more than a personal event, it had transformed into a symbol of courage and an uncompromising stance against injustice. Yet for Alicia, the journey was not entirely over. Even though justice had been served and public sentiment was on her side, she still had to face the scars left by all that had happened. She understood that it would take time to heal completely, to be free from the scornful look of Ryan and the shame she had endured. Michael recognized this, and he decided to help her find peace by planning meaningful and warm moments together. Michael suggested they take some time off away from the noise and media attention. A trip to a peaceful place, somewhere with only the sea and the vast sky, would be the best way to heal. Alicia agreed, feeling the need for a quiet escape to let go of everything and find herself again after all she had endured. They chose a secluded, beautiful beach far from anyone who might know them, where they could relax entirely, leaving behind the stresses and pressures of the trial. As soon as the plane landed, Alicia felt a sense of calm wash over her. They arrived at a small villa by the beach where they could hear the gentle waves and feel the refreshing ocean breeze. During their days there, Alicia and Michael strolled along the beach, walked barefoot under the bright sun, and felt the waves lap at their feet. They watched the sunset over the ocean each evening, the sky turning a warm shade of orange like a promise of hope and renewal. Those simple moments became the best therapy for Alicia. Here, there were no judging eyes, no hurtful words, just Michael by her side, quietly supporting and protecting her. One early morning, as the sun rose over the horizon, casting a golden glow across the beach, Michael and Alicia sat on the sand, hand in hand. Michael turned to her, his eyes full of love and pride. "Alicia, I want you to know that you faced everything with incredible strength. You stood up resiliently and didn't let yourself be defeated. I'm so proud of you." Alicia smiled, feeling Michael's pride and love as a newfound strength. She replied, "I couldn't have done it without you, Michael. You were my rock through all of this. Because of you, I was strong enough to overcome." Michael pulled her close, feeling her heartbeat against him. In that moment, all the wound seemed to fade away, leaving only peace and love. They sat there, listening to the waves, as if the world had shrunk to just the two of them. The pain and hurt seemed to be left behind, and what remained was resilience and gratitude that they had each other. Their time at the beach was not just a means of healing for Alicia, but an opportunity to reconnect deeply with each other. The peaceful evenings by the shore, the morning sunrises, and the unspoken conversations all strengthened their love. Michael understood that even the strongest woman needed someone to lean on, and he promised to always be her rock. Gradually, the painful memories of Ryan and the trial no longer weighed heavily on Alicia's mind. She realized she had come through this challenge and that the trial had not only restored justice but also shown her the strength within herself. The encouraging words from strangers, the empathy from those who had similar experiences, and Michael's unconditional love helped her feel a deep inner peace. On their last evening at the beach, as they sat together watching the stars shine above, Alicia felt a new idea forming in her mind. She turned to Michael, her voice thoughtful. "Michael, I've been thinking about everything that's happened. Maybe this trial and everything I went through wasn't just a challenge, but also an opportunity. I think that if my story can help others, maybe I should do something meaningful with it." Michael looked into her eyes, recognizing the determination and passion in the gaze of the woman he loved. "I've always believed you could do anything you set your mind to, Alicia. If you think your story can make a difference, I'll be here to support you in whatever you decide." The idea grew stronger in Alicia's mind, becoming a passionate goal. She wanted to turn her story into a source of inspiration, to raise awareness and encourage those who had suffered injustice to stand up for themselves. She began to envision collaborating with social organizations, joining forums on equality and justice to help others. She realized she could use her voice to bring hope to many. When their vacation ended and they returned home, Alicia felt like a changed person. She was no longer the woman who had been wounded by Ryan's insult, but someone ready to use her story to inspire and help others. Michael was by her side, cheering her on and supporting every step she took. They returned to their daily lives with confidence and a powerful belief in the future, and Alicia knew that even though the road ahead held many challenges, she wasn't alone. She had Michael, her family, friends, and the thousands who had supported her along her journey. Her story had spread, inspiring many, and would continue to resonate as a torch lighting the way in the fight against injustice and prejudice. In the days after returning, Alicia embarked on a new journey filled with determination and a desire to help others. She spent time connecting with non-profit organizations, attending events and forums on equality, where she could share her story and listen to others' accounts of the injustices they had endured. She felt that each story touched her heart, reminding her that many people still endured the same discrimination and pain she once did. Michael remained by her side, encouraging her to pursue her new goal. He often said that Alicia's strength and determination had not only helped her overcome hardship but had also brought hope to many others. With Michael by her side, Alicia felt she had the strength to move forward, even as memories of her ordeal lingered. His presence was a constant anchor, reminding her of love and trust, helping her rediscover herself and emerge even stronger. Gradually, Alicia became a familiar face at workshops and forums, sharing her story not to revisit her pain but to spread the message of resilience. She realized that her quest for justice had helped her grow, helping her understand more deeply her own worth and that of those around her. Each time she stood to speak, she felt Michael's support. A partner who had shared every difficulty, had encouraged her to keep going. One evening, after returning home from a speaking engagement, Alicia sat by the window looking out at the night sky. Michael approached her, gently taking her hand, and asked, "How do you feel now, Alicia?" Alicia looked at him, her eyes bright, and replied, "I truly feel I found myself again, Michael. Everything we went through showed me that sometimes hardships don't come to defeat us, but to help us grow and become stronger." Michael smiled, pride filling his eyes. "I've always known you were strong, Alicia, but you've gone beyond anything I could have imagined. I'm so proud of you for everything you've done and all that you've become." Alicia rested her head on his shoulder, feeling peace and warmth. She knew that their journey hadn't just changed her, it had transformed their lives. From a story filled with pain and hurt, Alicia had turned it into motivation to help others, to spread hope and resilience. She knew that despite the hardships she had faced, she could stand tall thanks to Michael and all those who had supported her. Over time, Alicia's story wasn't only widely shared but also became a source of inspiration for many. Social organizations invited her to join programs advocating human rights, respect, and equality in all areas of life. With each talk, each time she stood before an audience, Alicia felt as though she was planting a new seed, a spark of hope for those who had endured injustice. She raised her voice so that others might also find their strength within. Then one day, when she received a letter from a young woman who had experienced a similar ordeal, Alicia realized her life had been forever changed. The woman wrote, "Thanks to Alicia's story, I had bravely stood up for myself and no longer feared injustice." Those heartfelt words moved Alicia, making her feel that all her efforts had been worthwhile. That night, as Alicia sat next to Michael looking at the starry sky, she gently took his hand and said, "Michael, maybe life gave me this challenge so I could find my purpose. Our story didn't just bring me justice, but gave justice to so many others." Michael gently squeezed her hand, his eyes filled with love. "I believe every hardship gives us a greater purpose. You've turned pain into strength, and I'm prouder of you than ever." Alicia and Michael sat together in peaceful silence, feeling each other's heartbeat and harmony and deep gratitude. They knew their journey had not only been a personal struggle but a call for justice and love. For Alicia and Michael, this was not just the end of a painful chapter but the beginning of a new journey, one of compassion, inner strength, and a commitment to never let injustice prevail. Their story had now become a source of inspiration for many, a reminder that sometimes in darkness, we find our own light. Alicia knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she would continue her path with Michael by her side, her heart full of faith and hope. Their journey was a testament to patience, respect, and fairness, the values essential to building a better society, where everyone is treated with dignity and kindness. Through this story, may you also find the inspiration to stand for what's right, to protect the values you hold dear, and to never accept injustice. If this story touched you, please subscribe to our channel so you won't miss more moving and meaningful stories. Each story is a journey, a valuable lesson, and we want to share these positive values with even more people. Thank you for following till the end, and remember, we can always be a light for ourselves and others.